half continues from Cummins' end. Nasty. He's copped a fair few blows today, Cheteshwar Pujara.
It must be close to 8 times he's been hit on the hands, on the arm, on the body.
It's nicely cut away by Cheteshwar Pujara.
There's a short one, he gets hold of it though.
High and wide over point.
It's just been the rock. Shot again, 3 boundaries in the over.
Put away nicely.
This man just bats and bats.